You're gonna have to bear with me for a minute here, guys. This is something that's been on my heart probably since the beginning of my journey. And my journey really was to find what the state really is, what our relationship is with it, and how we are connected to it. Everybody wants to talk about their rights. Well, I'm sorry. All these people that talk about rights, if they don't talk about duty and responsibility, then they don't realize what rights are. Because anytime you research rights, duty and responsibility walk hand in hand with it. Oh, there's a lot of things that we've been told are our duty and responsibility, such as support the troops. Air quotes, support the troops. I don't know how you support the troops. Other than not doing what they did in the 70s, when they wanted to march against maybe the Vietnam War and things like that. Like I said, you got to bear with me for a second here because I've I've got a level of anger, if you want to put it that way. What's happened in the last 20 years since the U.S. went into Afghanistan, and since I've seen people come back from Afghanistan, I've seen people I've looked at, such as Ethan. He's up here in Sarasota, just north of me in Florida. He went in front of Congress and spoke about what was going on there. About a year and a half ago, consequently, he came down with cancer. Gee, why would that be? Well, they were shooting ordnance into areas there that was laced with radiation. It was going to freaking destroy the freaking land and the earth and the area for people to be able to dwell there and live there. Is that what you do to a nation who's done nothing against you? I mean, I'm sorry. That goes directly against the Constitution and the Law of Nations. The Law of Nations says over and over again, if a nation does not come against you, you don't go against them. Bottom line, it's that simple. But it gets worse. You know, I've had friends. I had a friend that lived like a house away from me. And I used to even get visits to my home, to my dwelling, from people that were coming to pay him a wellness check, air quotes, wellness check, because he didn't show up for a doctor's visit. Same thing happened to, a girlfriend of mine lived on their side of me in another freaking home. They would say, "Oh, we know you're friends with her. Have you seen her? Is she home?" I knew what her deal was. I knew exactly what was going on with her. I didn't give them any info. I didn't think they required it. I didn't think they deserved it. Let me put it that way. They didn't even deserve it. Because here's the problem, is that when you join the military, and I had joined the military at one time as well, I joined the Marine Corps, all right, as reserve. And in my training, I didn't spend very much time really with the troops or whatever, going through boot camp. I was off in other offices, basically, because if you test to a certain score, what they do is, at that time, they called you a special tester, and you got $50 a week more or $50 a month more. Okay. And you sat in front of a computer doing testing to see how well you were at adapting to other languages, deciphering things, what other abilities you had, other than just being a grunt, really, which a lot of people think the Marines are just grunts. But you actually have to have a higher ASVAB score to join the Marine Corps than I think any other branch, including the Air Force. Anybody that's young out here listening to this right now, I would recommend to you, join the Air Force. All right, join the Air Force. You can get an education. You'll see little if no combat time. And, by the time you retire at the age of 38 or whatever, you can start a new career. But above and beyond that, I would say don't join anything. Your participation is consent. Voting is participation. Voting is consent. What are you consenting to? You are consenting to the atrocities that a terrorist organization is delivering across the world. Bottom line. That's just the way it is. And when you look at what's happening to the veterans today, granted, they didn't know when they went in. When I went in, I didn't know what everything was all about. But when I see how the veterans are being treated today, when I see a neighbor taken out of her home on a stretcher with a flag draped over her, put into a anonymous van and taken away, and no investigation is done on her death, that tells me how much they really care about the veterans. Even though I know what contributed to her death. And you know what contributed to her death? The same mental anguish that the state put on her in her duty. Many of these men will tell you that. You can talk to many veterans, and they can't even sit and watch the fireworks at the 4th of July, which is supposed to praise the United States of America. You know what? The United States of America, it's just a company. That's all it is. It's just a company. And what do companies do? People need to realize what the objective of a company is. It's to, 1, get bigger, and 2, to make money. If they don't accomplish those objectives, bye-bye. And I'm sorry to tell everybody, people need to realize this. Your chickens are going to come home to roost. You cannot freaking go across the freaking world and do this to people and not expect repercussions. The chickens will come home to roost. It might even be in the matter of a plague.